What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anfernee, and in this video I want to talk about the controversy around trying to get rich slow. You've seen a lot of my videos. I talk about how investing should be a boring and a very drawn out process. A process where you contribute a little bit of money to an investment account very consistently over a long period of time. And history has shown time and time again that this is a proven process to make you a millionaire, although it may take 20 to 30 years. And for those who are solely using this method in order to gain wealth, may not be aware with some of the risks that actually come with trying to get rich slowly. So this video is meant to lay out all of those risks and to show you why actually trying to get rich slow may not be the best method for you if your goal is financial freedom. And building wealth and financial freedom are two very different things, but that's what I want to discuss a little bit later in this video. So I know the term getting rich is thrown out a lot there on YouTube these days, but I really want to take a moment to define what this actually means. What does it really mean to be rich or to be wealthy, and how much will push you over that barrier? Well, in short, I think being rich obviously means something different to almost everyone that you can ask. Being rich may simply mean being financially stable to some people, where they have enough money in their bank account so that they don't have to ever worry about being overdrafted and their bills will always be paid. Whereas to some other people, being rich may have a specific dollar value of having $1 million or $2 million invested in the stock market. However, to someone who's seeking financial freedom, being rich means either having enough money invested or making enough passive income so that all your bills will be covered, even if you don't directly trade your time for money with a traditional 9-to-5 job. So in this sense, someone who has $5 million invested and takes $150,000 profit on that investment every single year would have the same level of wealth as someone who made $150,000 in passive income but had no money invested. And that variation in the definition of rich is what causes such a dilemma with trying to get rich slow. Which do you think is easier? Do you think it's easier to invest $20,000 for 40 years in order to get $5 million at some point in the future? Or would it be easier to start a business or a side hustle that you can grow for the next 2, 3, or 4 years that can make $10,000 a month or about $120,000 a year? Both outcomes may seem improbable, but to me anyways, one of them is definitely more probable, and that one is the side hustle method. And what I want most people to understand is that you can use your side hustle to get rich slow while not only directly working for money in order to hopefully get rich slow. So in order to actually get on the road to financial freedom, you need to know what your end goal is. You need to know how much money you need and set that number as a goal so that you can create incremental milestones up to that number. And simply wanting to be rich is not the goal. So first, let's break down how much money you would need if you're actually trying to get rich slow. This means how much money you would need if you worked a 9-to-5 job for the next 30 or 40 years and you didn't bring in any passive income from side hustles or side jobs. This is how much money you have to need invested in order to live on this amount of money without ever touching the principal amount. And in order to find out how much money you need to be rich or be financially free, that is a fairly simple calculation, and all you would have to do is add up how much money you spend on a monthly basis, multiply that number by 12 to get how much money you spend per year, and then divide that number by 4%. So the reason why you want to add up all your monthly expenses is fairly simple. You want to know exactly how much money you spend on a month-to-month basis, and then I would typically add $100 or $250 to that number in order to account for any unexpected expenses. So once you multiply that number by 12 and get your annual expenses, the reason why you would want to divide that number by 4% is because if you have your money invested, the money that is invested would typically grow at a rate of 7%. So if you only take 4% from your account on an annual basis, theoretically you would never have to touch the money that you contributed, and you only be withdrawing profit with a 3% profit left over into your account on a year-over-year basis. So for example, if you had a very frugal financial situation and you only spent $3,000 a month, that would be $36,000 in annual expenses. And if you divide $36,000 by 4%, you would have to have $900,000 invested in order to live on this amount in perpetuity or for the rest of your life without ever having to run out of money. If you were on a little bit of the higher end and you spent $5,000 a month, this would mean that you had $60,000 a month in annual expenses. And if you divide $60,000 by 4%, that means that you would have to have $1.5 million invested in order to live on this money for the rest of your life without ever having to worry about said money. But as I said, this number is only this high if you don't have any passive income, or if you don't make any money from any other source that you don't consider a job that you would still continue to make money from, even if you are quote unquote financially free. So what I want to do now is look at how long it would take to get to that $900,000 number, or get to that average $1.5 million that it would take in order to feel rich or feel financially free. So in order to do that, we'll have to dive into my computer and go to a site called portfoliovisualizer.com. And on this website, we can look at a Monte Carlo simulation, which simulates 1,000 potential outcomes in the stock market based on historical data. So if we start with an initial amount of $0 and we contribute $20,000 periodically, and let's say we put 100% of our money in the US stock market, where we can see when we run this simulation that it would take about 19 years in order to get that $1.5 million number if we were using the 50th percentile calculation. However, $1.5 million is the gross number. If we click this little button right here, we can adjust this number for inflation, and we can see that it actually takes us about 28 years in order to get $1.5 million worth of buying power today, which means that in year 28, the account value will be at about $4.6 million, although it will only have $1.5 million worth of buying power. So theoretically, if you were trying to get rich slow, it would take you around 30 years in order to barely get to the point where you can say that you are financially free. So now let's take a look at the actual passive income approach. So we already said that if your monthly expenses were $5,000, then you would need $1.5 million invested. However, what if you just added a passive income side hustle like a YouTube channel or like a lawn care business that made $1,000 a month? Going from $0 to $1,000 in 1 year may seem impossible, but going from $0 to $1,000 in 5 years seems a lot more doable. And if you were to be able to create a business that made $1,000 a month in passive income after tax net profit, then that would lower your overall financial freedom number by $300,000. So every $1,000 that you're able to bring in on a monthly basis completely passively, that is equivalent to having $300,000 in the stock market. So this YouTube channel brings in about $400 a month. If I was to multiply that number by 12 and divide it by 4%, that passive income is equivalent to having $120,000 more invested in my stock market account. So while there is value in getting rich slow in terms of consistency for the people actually trying to get rich in their 20s and 30s, I definitely think having some sort of business would accelerate that growth to financial freedom very, very quickly. So one of the first things that you want to do if you're really serious about building some passive income is creating a business plan around how you're actually going to be making money. Having a business plan is important because it will give you a great sense of clarity and understanding, and overall a great sense of direction around how you will actually be making some passive income. And I'm going to use this YouTube channel as an example of how you can create a business plan, and you can restructure it to any talent that you have in order to start making passive income for yourself. So the first thing that you want to do when you create your business plan is define the problem that you see that you can create a business out of. For YouTube, this problem could be a lack of personal financial education within the 18 to 24 demographic in the United States or any country that you're targeting. However, this overall problem could be a lot more simple, and it doesn't have to be anything that's groundbreaking. The problem that you want to summarize could be that there's a lot of overgrown lawns in your neighborhood, and you want to create a business model that allows your neighbors to pay you or pay someone that works for you in order to get their lawns mowed. So once you go about defining the problem, you then want to go about defining a specific solution to this problem. As for YouTube, if there's a lack of financial education between the 18 and 24 demographic, a simple solution could be creating personal finance content that appeals to the 18 to 24 demographic. At this point, the solution doesn't have to be anything super specific as well, although it should be in-depth enough to give you a little bit of direction on which way you want your business to travel. And then after that, you want to define the market and the competition of where your business will operate. The market could simply be the platform you want to operate on or the area that you're going to operate your business in. And the competition is simply how many other people you'll have to compete with in order to make your business successful. As for YouTube, there's a lot of competitions because there's a ton of people making personal finance content. However, if you can carve yourself into a specific niche and make yourself known for one specific thing, then you can then slowly branch out into other areas and then start to expand your business model to include different topics. And then rounding out your simple business plan, what you want to do next is list your expectations. How much money do you reasonably expect to make in your first year? Once you have that number, write down how much money you will want to make in your first year. There's a lot of ways to write down your goals, but one of my favorite things to use is a vision board because it really provides a next level motivational factor in order to get your goals achieved. But with all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you found any kind of value in this video, don't forget to hit the like button down there for your boy, as it really does help the channel out. Also, don't forget to look in the description below where if you sign up to public, you get a free fractional share of your stock. And that's a great way to support the channel as well if you want to do that. But don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.